Welcome back to the IeSF 2013 World Championship coverage here on Chaos TV. It's time for game number 2 of our grand finals. Korea lead this series 1-0, and we'll see whether the Netherlands can find their form from the previous 2 days here in the grand finals when it really does count. And I think they're going to start, of course, with that singed ban, and they don't want Status having that this game.
No, that kind of put a hole in them last time around, to say the least. I mean, that's not the first Korean we've seen drawing a singed ban, that's for sure, but it's also a very much doubt going to be the last. So we'll watch and see how this game unfolds. It does mean they're leaving some things open, perhaps even that Zed that they banned out last time, maybe more so we'll get that instead. Zed would have been a much better pick against the singed, I feel, in that last game, but of course they were not to know.
Now, I kind of feel like leaving Zed open, while they may hope to get it through, I would be surprised to see a Korean team not pick Zed first, because ever since release, Zed... Okay, I might be completely wrong, but Korean teams since release have very well documented an incredible pick rate on Zed because of
the thing.
His strength.
They also have documented an incredible research rate.
True.
And now, if that research then led them to say, okay, we leave Zed open, more so probably take it and run in the top lane. Okay, we'll pick Jax. Okay, they're going to switch it out and pick him later. We'll pick Jax because Jax can beat Zed, providing we babysit him early on and he doesn't fall too far behind. That's what we saw in yesterday's games, with the Dutch games. Jax did very well against Zed for a long time, but unfortunately Zed just got camped by Elise. Jax died a few too many times to Elise, and then 3 levels down, Jax couldn't do anything to it. So providing Jax stays up in a level, he should be okay. Now, if the Koreans do follow up that pick later on, depending on their jungler, depending on the attention he gives to that top lane, Jax should be able to deal with that Zed split push just fine.
It's a risky strategy, though. I mean, we've seen how strong the Koreans are, and we've seen how strong Morsu is on Zed, but it's just whether Morsu can survive that early game pressure that he will inevitably be under, and then turn it around. I like the confidence from Korea, but it is one that I think could end up backfiring on them.
It could do, but I mean, there's always a possibility of everything backfiring on you at the end of the day, so that's the beauty of the game. They did, of course, first pick that Corki instead, as you can see, and now we can see a response from the Dutch team. That is the response we've seen from many teams throughout the course of the weekend. You pick that Caitlyn, you try and aim for that 2v2, and you bully the hell out of Corki.
Now, if they are going for that 2v2, though, that will then leave Morsu in the 1v1, which is more beneficial for him too. So the Netherlands might be looking to position themselves fairly well here if they can get their lanes fixed. And I kind of feel like whenever we see this Korean time, we're in somewhat of a time warp, as Kennen hasn't been seen all that much, but had a very, very high success and pick rate in OGN constantly throughout Season 3. Very well documented with the Koreans saying that Kennen is just one of the strongest picks. He did have adjustments to his kit ever so slightly, and there was a meta shift in Europe and North America, but he finds his place once again on the Korean lineup, and definitely is still a strong pick.
It is, but it also just works very well with that Java, that combination, and it can work very well up against Zed. Just the distance, just keeping away from him, you're harassing him with auto attacks from range, it just doesn't allow him to really get on top of you and burst you down like a melee champion would. It could also very much be that Sangmoon's playing in the mid lane, because Nidalee Yesake is quite popular in the Korean scene a little bit. She's not so big in the Western scene. Maybe they're going to go and try something a little bit... Never mind, change that. They've so Ken and Jarvan bottom lane perhaps? Because I don't see Rammus sitting anywhere but the jungle. It's almost impossible.
That's interesting. I was not expecting that one.
Yeah, that's thrown me.
The Ari I possibly could have called because, again, Koreans and Ari, they've very much seen the strength there ever since Twisted Fate's seen a little bit of a drop-off, as she was a strong counter to him, and that has completely thrown me now. It is down to where the swaps are, and I have a feeling that the Netherlands felt they were confident in what their last pick was going to be. It is the support, but they do have to now think about what type of support they want in that lane.
What do you take for that? They're going to go for the Lulu. Okay, so there is that that massive slow, which will stop them getting close. You can then use that ultimate, of course, to help defend once they do jump straight up on top of you. I might have preferred to see Thresh, if I'm honest. That 99% slow working incredibly well against Rammus that comes powerballing in towards your team. But we'll see how this works instead. Glitterlance can do a similar job. It's just a little bit harder to land. This is a very interesting lineup from the Korean squad. It is going to be support Jarvan. It's not the first time I've seen support Jarvan. I've run it a couple of times. Didn't go too well, but I'm not Korean. It can be very, very powerful, but it is an incredibly all-in support. So it's going to be a bit of a gamble to pull that off down in the bottom lane. But it's going to be hella fun to watch, that's for sure.
Jarvan's not exactly known for his sustain for other people on your team. So unlike normal supports, as you said, this is going to be a very all-in kind of bot lane, which should be a good game to watch, but kind of feels like when you see people run like Jarvan Leona in the bot lane and on solo queue or duo queue, and can be very frustrating to play against. I wonder how much the Netherlands have played up against that kind of lane in recent times. Rammus is a champion that we don't see all that often. He kind of is difficult to get rolling in, as you said, any position other than the jungle, and even in jungle still has his limitations to some extent. We'll see how Sevilla gets this to work for him. It's a very different play style to Lee Sin approach, of where Lee Sin has a lot of versatility. Rammus really just runs at you and tries to taunt you after hitting you in the face, so
Okay.
Game number 2 here for the IeSF World Finals. Korea versus the Netherlands. Korea lead this 1-0. A win here with their unorthodox bot lane would put them as the champions here for IeSF, but the Netherlands, not to be outdone, have Morsu on Zed. We'll see whether he can get his groove on in this game and pick up a series tying win here.
So, let's see how they shape up these level 1s again before. We saw last time a whole lot of nothing, to be honest. They stayed in their own jungles, they warded the entrances and the rivers and kind of left it at that. Every other game this weekend, most teams have gone very deep on the invades, planting some aggressive wards, getting a lot of information about enemy invades. This time, taking a bit slower, but the Korean squad have completely taken control of the top half of the Dutch jungle.
They have assumed full control. We'll see exactly how that works out for them. Morsu has to be careful. They are aware that that ward has gone down. Pings do go onto it. And it's kind of weird seeing Jarvan in the game when he's not in the jungle. And that will take a little getting used to as this game goes on. But the Netherlands react in kind. Korea already have that warded down on their red. But the pink ward goes down, clears that one out. Netherlands looking maybe to fake an invade.
They do pretend to leave again, just to put that sense of uncertainty into the Korean squad. And then we'll turn back in again. There's some pings onto it from the Koreans. They say, let's go in from this direction. Will they get there in time? Jarvan, no, the smite goes down. He's going to see them anyway, so they know the red buff is definitely gone. He'll make his way towards that bottom lane, but he's being followed by a Vi.
I'm just trying to have a look at what the runes are on Jarvan. He's running armor penetration, which you'd kind of normally expect there.
See, the way this is going to work, he's going to hit level 2 and they're going to go. He's got strong early damage, he's got that knock up, he's got that passive which does percentage health based damage, and they're just going to try and do that Go in, auto attack, run away. Go in, auto attack, run away. And with that and the burst combination from that and from Corki, they're going to try and take control of this lane. But being Caitlyn and Lulu, they're going to get pushed. They're going to get poked a lot beforehand. So they need to be very careful of how much damage they take before that happens.
And they haven't hit level 2 yet. It is Kialis and Metalex that have already reached that level. Jarvan still not at that level when Corki does reach it himself. So they're a little bit out of sync here. And Jarvan has taken a lot of damage. That really is going to stop them from being able to do too much as Jarvan reaches level 2.
Yeah, well, the majority of his, or the entirety of inventory right now is all potions. He's going to have to chug through them and get back up to as much health as possible before he goes forward. And he's also got to wait a little while anyway for that Rammus. That Rammus is heading around in this direction, but he's going to be spotted the entire way thanks to all the wards placed by the Dutch bot lane.
Yeah, Morsu got stunned up in the top as well by Status, who playing Kennen in this one. We'll see how Morsu does up against that. We've seen Morsu dominating games on his Zed in the group and early bracket stages. Netherlands, however, seem to have somewhat of the advantage in the early game. As we're expecting, Flash comes forward out from Jibao. He hasn't quite got the knock up there, and Sevilla takes a Glitter Lance. That's a failed gank there for the Korean team.
Yeah. That's Flash and drop the flag on your head from Jarvan. Didn't use his Q, which was an interesting move. So that's down, but they blew the flash on that squishy Lulu now, so let's see how exposed she will be and whether they make the most of it. Vi is nearby this, so they didn't have to be very, very careful. There's a ward in that tri-bush, and that sort of ping for the Koreans was about. Rammus isn't done with them yet.
Yeah, Rammus heading around back to that bottom lane, but Vi is here as well. Doesn't quite have the same gank potential until level 6, as of course the Sultan Battery is not quite available until that level is reached. But here comes Rammus into lane. They get the knock up on Kialis. Vi has stuck around. Exhaust goes down onto the support. Here comes Vi. G-Bag gets taken down very low, and Jarvan gets dropped for the first blood.
Bro's patience paid off dividends, picking up that first blood for Metalex. They knew that gank was coming back again. They knew that Jarvan support, that lane's going to keep falling away from the Korean squad without another gank from Rammus, so without something happening after they blew that flash. They knew he'd have to come back down there again. They knew he'd have to try something different. He came down the lane. That's why they had Vi waiting this time around. Vi managed to help them pick up that first blood. The ward in the tri-bush has run out, and that's allowed Rammus to come in again.
Yeah, Sevilla lands the knockback onto two members there, and Kialis gets taunted in, and with that shield doing that extra return damage while it was active. Flash comes forward with the Powerball. Metalex gets taunted just in the nick of time for Jibao to come in for this barrier forced out of Metalex. They're going to wait for it to time out, and Jibao picks up the kill.
That was very, very patient, but very well played by the Korean squad. That saved them after that first blood given over to Metalex. They needed something to try and level the lane out again, to try and get Corki Jarvan even back up a little weight. And that kill going onto Jarvan may have just been enough, as well as pushing this lane in and making Caitlyn miss some creeps. So we'll see how that does play out from here on. We still expect to see Sevilla come down by a lot more in the next few minutes, but those kills were desperately needed.
Yep, Sangmoon looking maybe for a roam. Has hit level 6, which is that crucial time on Ahri with Spirit Rush available. Maybe looking to get in behind Morsu here as Status is pushing up. Can't quite get it though. Ooh, Morsu looked to recall out. That would have been good timing on the recall, as he would avoid this gank completely, but has stuck around. That might not be the best idea for him, but luckily Sangmoon will back off, seeing that there's nothing quite on yet.
So I want to look at top lane. The CS difference is already huge because this Kennen has just been bullying Morsu's Zed. They are both here at the base. I say that as Kennen buys himself a haunting guy, so he has just finished his base. But Zed having a little bit of a tough time against the range champ. We saw Morsu on that Zed plenty of times before, and in 2v1 situations he did just fine. But Kennen is proving to be a little bit of a challenge for him.
Meanwhile, down in this bottom lane, there is still somewhat of a CS advantage for Caitlyn, as to be expected from that extra range. And with that kill as well, managed to get her a BF sword. So that means in these early trades here, Kaelin is going to be doing a lot of damage, whereas Corki has got that double Dorans and the Ruby Crystal, which we'll be building towards the Phage. I would expect to go for a Trinity Force, but Rammus has been spotted out on that ward. He knows it is their own pink. They will clear it out and head back up towards the mid lane.
Just having that ward clear now after those last 2 ganks is put enough fear into the Dutch lineup that they know Rammus could come straight through there at any moment. They know he's nearby, so they're playing very, very cautiously right now, especially as they now realise those bottom pair, that Jarvan and Corki, are missing themselves. So playing very, very cautiously, waiting for this group to get as low as possible, and darting in, picking up the CS and leaving again. So until Rammus shows himself somewhere else on the map, Metalex and Kialis are playing very, very safe.
Yeah, Status forces out the slicing maelstrom as Morsu went aggressive. Sevilla now gets the taunt down onto Morsu, looking to follow up with another kill. That is a double kill there for Rammus as he managed to get Tremors in effect.
Beautifully executed by the Koreans. Nice timing by Sevilla. Didn't actually see, as far as I could tell, Vi up there until the very last moment. They just wanted to kill Zed. Zed went in onto Rammus, popped that combo on the turret. Despite Kennen getting knocked up by Vi and of course ulted by Zed, but more than enough damage down, darting away from the last couple of auto attacks thanks to a clutch taunt, allowed him to land those few final blows to help Rammus pick up a double kill.
Yeah, and that taunt is actually quite a long taunt as far as they go. Right now it's a rank 4 and it's 2.5 seconds of taunt, and especially when you take into account that Rammus will be activating that defensive ball kill, that the damage is going to get returned on every attack as well, so you're going to be stuck there for a while if Sevilla does manage to land himself on you, gets that knockback, then the taunt. There's really not a lot of escape for most champions. Robros found his way over the wall with the Vault Breaker. Will start to recall, but it might have been a good time for him to actually go aggressive there. The Koreans are coming back towards this. Will Bro finish the recall? No, he won't. He will go aggressive with the Vault Breaker, but his team aren't quite backing him up. He takes a lot of damage out from Corki, and a big rocket barrage will chip down the Netherlands, and that will spell the end of that gank.
So it's a nice attempt, another little bit of pressure. Nothing much more came from it. Jarvan still only on just boots. Jarvan can get very tanky with items. He is obviously one of those very beefy champs, but he's also incredibly squishy without them.
Ooh, Slicing Maelstrom used in the top lane. Deathmark has been procced, but it is not going to be enough to pick it up on its own. Sevilla goes to a rampage under that tower. Forced Morsu to taunt him. That will be a kill.
Crowd control is just too much for that Zed. Status's damage is very, very high now as well. He's going to go back and it's going to get even bigger as he buys more items. But as I was saying, that Jarvan, without items, can stay very, very squishy. We saw how quickly he dropped for that first blood without having any at that point. Now all he's got is Moby 5 boots. Now, if Corki wasn't doing so badly, I would like to see him roam around the map. But Rammus is doing so well that he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to go around with Rammus, doesn't need to assist him in ganks. Rammus is doing just fine on his own. Corki isn't doing very well on his own, or wouldn't be able to do very well on his own, so he has to stay in that bottom lane. So honestly, maybe 5 boots, maybe a bit too early. He's not going to be able to get the most out of them.
Yeah, it's a big investment on that already, but again, even in these ganks, he's not taking critical amounts of damage yet, so he kind of feels confident with the itemization as it is, and especially up against Zed, who, if you aren't itemizing damage, there's really no way to break this CC. You can see he's gone for that Blade of the Ruined King, which is one of the routes that you can go on Zed, but normally that's to escape somebody that can catch on you with slows. But down in the bottom lane, Sultan Battery gets used onto Jarvan, Cataclysm gets used, nice flash out from Jiba will put him outside of his own wall. Ooh, it now very nearly hits that ace in the hole. for himself, but it's not enough, and Metlex now taking damage, but Corki just has quite a lot now, but that BF sword is starting to work for it now. Kialis nearly gets dropped. It doesn't matter though, because here comes Sevilla. He's forced to flash over his own minions. Double hit on the Powerball, followed by Tremors and the Taunt. Will it be enough to pick up Metlex? He's waiting on the MOBA boots to kick in, and maybe the Powerball, but it's not quite fast enough.
Slight, ever so slight misplay Ramaris. It was beautiful up until that point, dodging around the creeps, flashing over them, landing the slow onto both members of the Dutch bottom line, but he taunted Lulu instead of Caitlyn. If he'd have taunted Caitlyn, he'd have got a double, but unfortunately he taunted Lulu, and now she died so fast anyway. Even if she hadn't been taunted, she wouldn't have got out of his damage in his ultimate anyway. She would have fallen. Caitlyn, however, did get out because she wasn't taunted. If she had been there and in that taunt for 2.5 seconds, she would have died as well. But fact of the matter is, she went out, she based, she got to 1 kill. Corki picked up 1 kill on Tavai as well, and they still came out a long way ahead. This is an incredibly powerful Rammus. Sevilla is really doing work.
Yeah, and while all that was going on up in the top lane, Status took a tower down, so they got even more from that than just the kills down bottom. But really, any lane that Sevilla has appeared in, he's been able to do a lot of damage and a lot of work. You can see 6 kills of the 7 he has been involved with so far, and for a Rammus, that is actually quite a significant advantage here at 14 minutes into the game. Normally it takes quite a little bit to get Rammus going, but Sevilla really showing his skills here.
Everything other than that very first gank on the bottom lane has just brought something for him. And now he's so far ahead, they can bring on these really strong invades for force the flash out of Hood Boss. And then once again, just like before, taking complete control of the Dutch jungle. And look at how they've now zoned 4 members of the Dutch team into that bottom lane. They can easily take this middle tier 1 turret if they want to, and they honestly probably do want to, because that's how the Koreans have been playing, and probably should right now as well.
Yeah, Bro is coming in towards this bottom lane again. Assault battery lands, but the actual distance got put between Jibao and Bro with a very nice timed flag and drag away as it hit. Of course, you can't avoid it, but you can start moving out of the damage. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, they do pick out a kill on Hood Boss again. That's the closest Sevilla's come to dying.
That charm and that taunt combo is so much crowd control. Gragas couldn't do anything for the majority of that fight. Locked up, nuked down, finished off.
Status still farming away in that top lane, 127 to 94 in the CS. No kills really on well, no kills on the top laners, because most of it's gone to Sevilla every time he's been up there. But Status is doing a good job of getting his itemization on the way, and Sevilla's found himself Bro. That taunt brings Bro back in. That's another kill there. This one does go to Status, however. And I think that's one of the things about Rammus when you're playing against one, is just how long you think you've got away from him when he taunts you, and then pulls you back in, and you end up travelling quite a distance back towards an Ace and Hole child in the bottom lane, as they are going aggressive in the top lane once again. They're diving behind Towers. Sevilla, Deathmark is on him. That will not quite kill him. How is he alive? Oh my goodness.
Oh my lord,
Sevilla.
I thought the Ignite had it. Status is tanking the tower for him. We'll stay. Oh, Vi's going to finish him off anyway.
Oh, and that might spell the end of Status too, if they can't quite catch it. Puts one Mark of the Storm on with the Shuriken. Didn't quite get one earlier. There's the third one. Locks him in place. That might even be the end of Bro.
Bro knows he's dead. That red buff is enough.
He's gone. That's another kill for Korea.
As soon as that second stunner landed and Status started to chase him down with a red buff, that red buff would have been enough to slow. He's just chased him to the ends of the earth, landing those auto attacks, and as soon as Bro wanted to turn and chase Kennen down, he just lightning rushed away again, so he knew he was dead. He knew that was not happening, with having a bit of fun in the process.
And I think at this situation in the game, that's really...
that kind of sums up the whole game, to be honest,
yeah.
now. Like, they're trying desperate things, they're trying to pick up kills. Yes, they finally killed that Rammus, but even in doing so, they lost their life, and inevitably had to walk on out of there with heads hang high. Reducing Rammus coming down again in this bottom lane.
And this time, really gets it. No chance of dying on that one. Although here comes Bro maybe looking to take out it now. Assault and Battery was used. Hood Boss will catch up as well. They don't have all that much damage here with just Sevilla and Jarvan, but they do manage to get out with most of their lives.
Yep, that flash down from Rammus. Another EQ away from Jarvan, who's still only got that sight stone, but that engage, that EQ knockup is very powerful and should be fine. As Zed, oh dear, Zed gets wiped off the map.
And that's what we've seen Morsu do to other people in this tournament. Very rarely has that happened to Morsu, where the assassin catches onto him and just takes him away from the game. And that really is what Simon has just been able to do. Here goes Sevilla once again into the middle. We saw him chasing Hood Boss earlier. Last time he flashed away. Flash not available this time. He just stood on the barrel and he's just letting him kill himself with the defensive ball kill. Taunts him back in. Gregus does manage to get away. Hood Boss throws that emote into chat. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Status uses Slicing Maelstrom. He's 3v1 here. Here comes Sevilla looking for the Powerball onto Kialis. There's Lasagna's Hourglass. Will he be able to get the taunt down? That's another kill there. Status gets out away with that one. It might not be the end either, as they're
just
chasing
going everywhere. It's like, we want another kill. Alright, let's go get this one.
Goodness.
Oh, there we go.
That is another kill. 8-1 on Rammus. Sunfire Cape is really helping him last through a lot of this damage and deal a lot. Well played, lads. Does come out from the Netherlands. I feel at least at times they've enjoyed this game of this series, but I'm sure Korea have enjoyed it even more.
Very much so, that Rammus play. I mean, it's a very, very unconventional set of picks. We spotted them and set a interesting look on our face, but this was the potential. It's either it went incredibly well or it went catastrophic. And as you can see from Sevilla picking up another assist, it's going very, very well.
Yeah,
Zed
just
pops
manages
full combo on Sangmoon, and Sangmoon still stays alive.
And that was probably one of the easiest blocks you'll ever see on an ace in the hole, seeing where it came from. Here comes Hood Boss, trying to pick himself up a kill. The barrel does not explode before he's able to get taken down in that one. Here goes Sevilla, taking no damage at all here. How do you deal with that? And right now, I don't think there's any way that the Netherlands possibly could deal with that. Korea looking incredibly strong.
You know how you deal with it? You deal with it the same way that you deal with a tennis ball and a puppy.
You hand
Rammus when he's in his Powerball form. You hand it to a puppy, and that puppy will find a way to destroy it. You know that's true. Anyone that's had a puppy, anyone that's had a small dog that chews things will know that is true. No amount of fed Rammus would stand up to a newborn puppy.
Well, they've figured out how they're going to deal with it, and that is to realize exactly how that game was going. That will spell the end of that Grand Finals. Korea looking very strong in this best of three, and in all of their games, the entire tournament hardly even contested. And that was pretty much a clinical